Yo. A lot of my content until now has been centered around streets, and it's definitely my favorite map by far. I was initially drawn to it by the millions of rubles worth of valuables that would spawn on it pretty much every single raid over the last 2 wipes. And after I got my bearings on the map and got a taste of my first few 3 to 4 Bitcoin raids, there was really just no going back. At the start of this wipe, BSG nerfed the rate at which loot spawns in pretty much every single spawn across the map. Because of the lack of transparency on their end, all we can really do is speculate, but just by the feel of it, I'd say it's at most 1/3 as likely to see loot in any given spawn compared to previous wipes. Even though my experience on streets this wipe has definitely had its highs, like 2 double biddy raids, a green card, a black card, and the occasional GPU or 2 GPUs in a raid, that's only a handful of the nearly 200 streets raids that I have run this wipe so far. It feels like for every single raid that barely meets the bottom of the barrel of what I could consider an average streets run last wipe, there's at least 3 to 5 that barely profit 1 million rubles, and that's before you consider survival raid. Anyways, my point in yet again airing my grievances regarding the streets nerf is that I'm finally using them as a motivation to try my hand somewhere else. Finding the last Virtex I needed to finish up my Lend-Lease took me a handful of raids, but during these I would usually encounter at least 3 to 5 player scavs per raid. I thought there's really no way so many people would be running these if it wasn't worth it, and in comparison to street scav runs last wipe, it definitely isn't. But this isn't last wipe. Streets is cooked now, and I figure it's time to adapt, so I decided that this week I'd commit to, at the very least, trying to enjoy rubling on a different map. What I've been showing in the background up until now here is my very first Lighthouse scav run of the weekend, and having already learned most of the spawns before starting, it was pretty effortless to net myself a quick 1 to 1.5 mil. I'm sure a lot of you might be here to learn about how to scav Lighthouse, and although I'm not really an expert, before I get into the meat of the video, I'll use the next 2 runs to quickly show you every spawn that I check depending on where I spawn on the map. Okay, so I started off at the upper chalet, which is perfect because it's the furthest point from the rogue camp that I usually ever check for loot. As soon as you walk in the front gates, there's a garage here on the right, and on the bench there's a med bag, and then on the back wall here there's also a blue locker safe. It looks like a PMC has already been through here, but more often than not there's always something in here when I check it. Now into the garage, there's a valuable spawn on the workbench under the red towel, and on the tool bench right behind it. In the laundry room, there's another spawn here on this bottom right shelf, and on the dining room table here, there's a spawn on either of these 2 chairs, and on the table right above them. Upstairs here, there's a spawn around the shelf under the TV, the shelf next to this Nico chair, this lower shelf against the wall, on this box, and on the other cardboard box right here. Moving down to the middle floor, there aren't any tech spawns, but in the movie theater here, there's a couple intel spawns on the seats that I normally hover loot through them, but you should be able to see them clearly if you are going to look for them. In the bedroom right across the hall here on the nightstands, there's a gold chain spawn that I've also seen like a skull ring on, but it's definitely possible they could spawn other gold items, but I've really only ever seen the chain in the skull. Going outside here now, there's a broken crate tucked in the corner on the right that has a valuable spawn in it. Then on the hot tub man's body, there's a spawn on his shoulder and on his knee that you really have to stick your nose into to see the smaller items like Virtex sometimes. The final spawn in this chalet is on top of the wooden crate outside the middle floor here. I guess I should probably clarify at this point that all the valuable spawns that I'm pointing out can have any item on the Lighthouse valuable loot table, including Euros, Axles, M-Cables, Cyclones, mid-tier stims, mules, Coftums, VPX, Virtex, Veritas, Skulls, Bitcoins, and I might have missed 1 or 2 here as well, but for the most part that's really all you see. The second chalet here only has 2 spawns that I checked, the first being in this broken crate, and the second one being all the way at the other end in this little gazebo on the left-hand chair here. The last spawn that I check on my way to the rogues camp is in the back of this submerged van in the little crate on the right hand side, and it looks like it has gifted us a beautiful Triminal today. At the entrance of the camp, there's this little hut that I normally hit the drawer stacks in, as it can have a decent shoreline key, as well as a chance to drop military documents like SMTs, flash drives, and MFDs. Now if you follow along this front fence here, all the way down, eventually you'll hit this little awning that houses the first rogue. As long as you stay against the outside of the fence here and the rogue is mounted, it shouldn't aggro you and you should be able to just line up the shot and take a freebie. I learned the hard way that you can't really loot him yet, because if you go inside the gate at this point, the gunners on building 1 and 2 can see you. The next front rogue is posted up on this little tower here, and just like the last one, all you have to do is line it up and pop them. Make sure you don't walk in front of these last 2 windows in front of the shipping container, because if the closest roof gunner is here, he'll blast you right through them. Jumping in, I usually check this table in the green crate, which has weapon part spawns, and I found plenty of scopes or gunsmith attachments here that sell for a pretty penny on the flea. Next, I walk around the corner here and check the mounted gunner. If he was here, I'd keep running forward to get cover behind the truck before he aggroes me, but since he isn't, we're just going to turn around and check this little box underneath the gunner that has 2 valuable spawns in it. I thought that was a rogue aggroing me, but looking back, it was definitely just fighting scavs and the bullets were whizzing past me. I went back up to pick up a spear off the rogue and headed in to check our next few spots. The first is on the workbench on the left side of the hammer here, and the next one is in the broken crate next to the knocked over light stand. You really have to stick your nose into it and hover loot it because the biddies and Virtex really like to hide under the rubble inside of these crates. The next spawn that I checked is this little box in the middle on top of the holding tank, and after this I run into the little tented area and check the identical box for the final spawn in the middle area here. Next I head through this hole in the wall to avoid backtracking, and I peek into this broken crate as well. You'll notice a theme by now, but you really gotta get in there to check these crates just in case. Heading into building 1, the first 2 spawns are in this left corner here, where this pro kill is, and then another spawn is mirrored on the left side of the junk pile as well. I picked up the sight so I could finally use the spear, and then I headed into the left side rooms. There's a med box in the first room as well as another med spawn on the floor. And then the next valuable spawn is here on the corner between the lab top and the docks. I picked up some juice off the scavs that I heard fighting the rogues earlier, and then I got snuck up on by a rogue duo as well. Right as I was about to leave, I did catch a sneaky little PMC trying to get his hands on my bag full of goodies. With our competition out of the way, I loaded up his belongings and made my way out of the back of the building to check this broken crate here, and it holds the final spawn of building 1. After peeking at the time, I realized that I really wouldn't have enough time to show you every remaining spawn, so quickly here I'll just show you the top of building 2, and in the tent here there's a spawn in the little box on the left, as well as on the left and right of the table above it. I wrapped back around and left through industrial gates and got out with just a little over a mil. After this I reset really quick just to show you the building 3 spawns. Okay, so going to the right of the drawer hut here, on the front corner, you can follow this blue fence all the way to building 3. Just make sure that you're against the fence here and you don't linger in front of any of these gaps on the left, as the gunners on building 1 and 2 roof can see you through a couple of them. Typically I jiggle peek the front opening of the fence here and just walk right into the front of the garage if there were no rogues, but we did hear a man fighting rogues and I didn't want to risk getting picked off, so you could also just run around this right side of the fence here and vault into the window right in front of us. I cleared the entrance first, but there's a tech spawn behind us here on the shelf underneath this little computer screen. Some drawers on the way out. Some food spawns, a duffel bag, and a jacket in the second room, and then the broken crate in the entrance here has a valuable spawn that was generous enough to provide us our much needed biddy fix at the start of the weekend. The room right behind the crate here has a spawn in this box on the left, as well as a duffel and a jacket. The final spawn in the building is inside of this broken crate at the top of the stairs here, and with that I've gifted you all of the rogue camp spawns that I check on my own scav runs. There's 2 more in the train yard behind this wall here that I forgot to show in this raid, but you'll see me check them both a handful of times throughout the rest of the video. The first 6 raids were all off stream on Friday night, so Narrator Frog will walk you through those before we get into the stream raids. My weekend got off to a pretty rough start, and we lost 2 of our most beloved scavs to the rogues back to back, before finally getting our hands on a little bit of loot. I spawned with a red flare that we can add to the collection, and before we could even find any loot, we encountered our first busted rogue of the wipe. Someone had already dropped the roof rogues, and I grabbed a bit of their gear and headed down to find another busted rogue in the back.
Ну чё, попадос вам тут всем?
After sending a screenshot of my new friend to the frog court, I found an absolutely beautiful sight in the crate out back. There's another busted rogue on building 2, and this random scav did what I didn't have the courage to do earlier. We found some of those info items in the jacket and drawers of building 3, and I got out with just around 700k worth of loot. Right now, this inventory is probably going for a bit less, but at the time of recording this, Virtexes were going for about 400k. The next raid we spawned at the loot van, but it was not kind today. We dropped a rogue on building 1 and took his SR-25 to start taking shots across the map, but I angered the gunner, so I hid behind these vents, and while I was here I voiced to a player scav under me, and they really just must have not heard me, or they were a man about their bread, because he didn't even think twice about popping me in the helmet from my SR-25. In the next run, I spawned in the kitchen outside the second chalet, and I picked up a koftam off the gazebo chair. We got our hands on a mule from the shipping crate under the tent. Then I tried my best to make sure these player scavs knew that I was a scav, as I don't really love the outcome of what happened last time. I peeked and I must have had some threatening frog aura though, because he was not having it at first.
Oh wait, I thought you were attacking me. You just fucking screamed.
I usually like to play these situations passive, because even if they shoot at you, you typically get away with just playing passive and de-escalating in the event of scav on scav violence.
We don't know where the other one is, just be careful. Still a lot of rocks over this way.
I took their info into account and I decided to rotate to building 2 behind the inner fence, and then we got out with just around 400k since I didn't find anything on the roof of building 2. I called it a night after getting dropped without getting any loot in the next raid, and I woke up on Saturday to run some peak time weekend scav runs. In retrospect, this was obviously not a great idea, but I wanted to share a bit of the scav grind with the stream, so we tanked the competition and tried our best to get our little goblin hands on some loot. Never mind, it was a quick ass loading time. And we are starting with a little bit of juice. We'll take it. We might as well check the chalet since we spawned here. There's no way a PMC just started looting here at 26 minutes. I refuse to believe it. Oh, he checked the fucking theater? Brother. Really out here crossing T's and dotting I's. He's way ahead of me too. I think I might just have to key the plant. Oh, miner. Hearing that always brings me joy. I haven't heard any shots coming from this way, but when you're at the chalets, sometimes you don't hear anything, especially if they're using a silenced weapon. Not much, yeah. Dude, that's so fucked up what they did to those men. I hope they revert that eventually.
Bro, you just showed me a new path I never learned this area.
Yes, sir. Damn, now he's not gonna watch my video to learn how to do the path or whatever. Tunnel vision on rare spawns when I go through here the first time around. This is kind of dumb because we did hear a rogue shooting from the middle, so we could get goofed on, but it looks like we are fine. I should just start going through the fence there and walk up along, so I don't have to backtrack to here. There's nothing in there ever anyways. That's like the one box that every PMC loots when they come through here no matter what. They'll miss a lot of the other spawns, but that shit never has anything in it. I still check it though. Damn. No loot. Someone might have actually looted over here. Don't scav streets, I know. It's awful. I'll start doing it again once I get 6 rep, just because you can go fuck around with Kaban. That's like one of the only things that's like worth it. Just parade one of these guys has like a SR-25 with a TAC 30, I can just yoink. Got Kappa? No. Probably not gonna on this account. Whoa. Someone's angry. I think it is that player from the roof over there though. Better kill the raider, I think he's already dead. What I really better kill is a PMC when he comes there. He'll loot all his raiders that he killed. Now we play the waiting game, boys. I just gotta hope he doesn't see me. He never saw me. The problem is that a scav could come up here at this point. I'm just really hoping a scav doesn't come up that, because I'm killing whatever comes up the stairs. You rat, brother. Come on, man. He's got a sight, a scope. He's over there on that roof. I have a radar gun with a shitty little hollow. I'm not gonna do anything about him. Best thing I could have done is gone back down the stairs and ran the wall over to him and waited underneath his stairs, but I'm rat regardless. There's like nothing you can do on this map without a scope. If someone else has a scope, you just gotta play the short close. That's underneath. Alright, boys. That looks like a scav backpack, man. No, Oh, that's a PMC. Surely that's a PMC. I let my arms rest. I don't know, he looks so scabby though. Nope, it's a PMC. Unless they shoot at the scav, or unless they shoot at the rogue. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It was a scav with an SR-25 from a rogue. Minus 0.4. Yoink. Oops. My bad, brother. Like what? Oh. Oh! Never mind, brothers. It was worth it. Oh my god. No wonder he sounded so heavy. We'll do this. And then, I don't know. Do I have industrial zone gates? I do, okay. Go check this guy's loot out quick and then we'll dip. Okay. For the first time in my life, it was worth losing scav rep. Oh, did I run out of aggro? Are we good? I think I ran out of aggro. We're chilling. Jump on the back? Nah. I'm a little bit heavy. I think I break my legs as a scav. Yeah, I weigh 60 keys. I can't do that. Can run out of aggro? Yeah, it's like a 5-minute timer after you kill a scav, and then you're not aggroed anymore, as long as you don't kill anything else. So the bag then drop? Alright. We can't all be Mr. Smart Guy. Some of us have to be the himbos of Tarkov, and that's just me. Look at that. Little GPUer in the bag. That was a juicy-ass raid. All we had to do was lose 0.4 rep, unfortunately. Unfortunately, our legendary streak of one good raid came to an end after just that run. Whoa. A rogue? I feel like I just did something wrong. Ow. Where, brother? Oh, he's across. He's all the way across on building 1. I'm so dumb. I heard the one rogue say direct hit under me, I think. And I thought that he was the one shooting at me, but he was all the way across. That's awful. I did have to wait a full 8 minutes between each run, so on stream I was also running Kappa quests on the PvE account between scav runs. I don't plan on making any YouTube content on that account until later this wipe, when PvP really dies down, but I'll likely be questing Kappa for it on stream for one reason or another over the next 2 months, so if you want to catch that live or any other PvP content that I get into, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/SavageFrogTV, which is also linked below. Hopefully that's not a scav. It looks like a rogue. He's on the gun. I think he's real. That gun is empty.
Пацаны, да он там совсем ёбу дал! Валить надо его!
Give him a little wiggle. Oh no. Right after I drop my gun too. That's fucking insane. That's so fucked up. I drop my rig and my gun and then just start getting shit on. Actually, I should grab his gun too. That's what I was gonna do. In the first place. What's the worst thing that happens? He just dies, right? Like, I don't know, man. I think a lot of that comes from people not really having experience making money and understanding how easy it is to make enough money to buy a kit as well. Like, worst thing that happens is you die and you can hit a scav run on even a safe map like Streets and just hit a bunch of drawers and PC blocks, and then you have enough for a full kit after that already. But I get it. Like, I was like that a lot too early on, where I would get a kit from somebody and I'd depot it in my base, or I'd depot it in my stash, and I'd come back out with a fucking shotgun kit or like a UMP. Should I check the roof? Or should I just move on to building 2? Oh. Alright, this is another dead-ass raid. This is what happens, man. If you don't spawn all the way up front at the rogue camp, it's cooked, man. Goofy-ass raid. I guess we got a roller augmented hose. It's a couple 100k with the U-lock in there too, but nothing incredible for sure. As far as the next video is concerned, I really don't plan on spoiling too much, but I'll leave a hint at the end of this video that should cue a handful of you in if you did watch most of my video last wipe. I promise you're not going to want to miss it though, so make sure you're subscribed because the next video is going to be my biggest project this wipe. I said I'm not going to get Kappa on the PvP account this wipe. We only have 3 months left. It'd take me like 2+ weeks to get it from where I'm at right now because I've been avoiding the quests a lot. I'm going to be quitting the wipe early though. I'm not going to play for a full 3 months. Like mid to late November. There's leagues coming out for old school RuneScape, and I'm going to be playing that full time for like 2 to 3 weeks until wipe happens. Like to knock it out once? Yeah. It's definitely, if you are going to play for at least 2 more months from right now, I would say do it 100%. Okay. Money? No money. Been leveling the alt? Hell yes, brother. I've been slacking. I have not played RuneScape at all. And I probably won't until, like, right before leagues, just so I can get back into the swing of raiding. No ground zero that. Well, I mean, it sounds fun. Makes scaving hard, I know. I wish they just nerfed scaving by changing how you spawn than trying to do shit like this. Ow. That was a PMC for sure. What's the video from all these scav raids? It's just going to be Lighthouse scav. What other games I play? I mean, right now I'm just playing Tarkov. Like old school RuneScape, Apex Legends. I used to play a lot of Rust, but not anymore. Play New World sometimes. That shit's fun. I'm a big, like, MMO degenerate. Play Diablo 3 every time that the season wipes, and I just grind for, like, rank 1 on the leaderboard really quick, and then I reset. And then I don't play it until next season over and over. Oh, what do we got here? GP. I played a little bit of New World last week. That shit was fun. I miss that game. It's supposed to be October 15th, like the new updates dropping. I might start a fresh Start World account and play that from scratch. I might stream that. That'll be, like, a little bit under a month from now. Do I have gates? I do have gates. Okay. Whoa! Whoa, my bad, brother. I only had 15 bullets in the mag. They ran out of bullets and just stopped shooting. Anyways, after that run, we pulled 4 60-rounders of 5.6A1 out of what was otherwise a pretty dry loot run. We got domed on our way into the next raid, and hit the whiff of a sentry on a duo outside of the building 3 to end the stream off. I suck so bad. That's so awkward. I gotta see the damage dealt. 140 absorbed. Damn. That site just has like no field of view outside of the reticle at all. It's so hard to lean peek like that and adjust. The next day I started stream off with a bang. After that I got baited a little bit when I thought a fellow player scav had taken out the rogue in front of us. And finally I got punished for trying to loot the front rogue without checking the roof of building 1. Oh man. What did I expect? Honestly. God damn it. Ooh. Little juicer. Just jumping over there now. VPX large car and a roller. That's like 500k. We can't complain. Plus the guns, these will probably sell for like 130, maybe 200k if I fence them at the end of the run. Anyways, after all those goofy runs with an 8-minute timeout between each one, I was getting pretty burnt of scavving over and over on stream, so I sent one more before finishing up the stream on PvE. Is that his head or is that his arm? That was his head. We have to go around this side though. No, I'm so dead. Just let me get the toe. Oh my god, it's Sester 25. It's doable. Okay, so the turret's shooting like back here. There might be a guy behind the fence. Or he's just missing me the whole time, one of the two. But he's not on the gun here anymore. What the fuck? They're on building 1, brother. Watch out. I gotta hit the ibuprofen. There's no way I can peek that without it now. I just don't know what the distance is here. There it is. Oh, that's crazy. Wait, he's up here? That's crazy. How was he up here with us this whole time? He didn't shoot this scav. None of the ones on that roof shot the scav that came up here to talk to me. They all just looked at him. Alright. I'm guessing this has been looted already. We'll take some leftovers if we're allowed to. Oh. Has not been touched. I mean, it's not the worst. We'll take it. This was definitely another solid 1 mil plus run, but the risk that we had to take on in order to secure that 1 mil was much, much higher than I'd have to take for a 1 mil street scav, even after the nerf that happened at the beginning of this wipe. After a few hours of boss hunting on stream, I got off and I went out for the night, but after looking over the footage that I had so far, I realized that I just didn't feel complete on that note. So I embarked on a couple more final scav runs, and I don't know if I've just learned from all of my mistakes this weekend. The servers were less active because it was much later on that Sunday night, or if it was a combination of these two because the raids went almost perfectly. Late night, no mic, just a freaky little frog getting his loot on. After a bit more thought, these late night or early morning raids are always just so much more chill. If you're up at degen hours anyways and you need to get your hands on a VPX or a Virtex, there's definitely much less competition for loot in these raids. But the same goes for pretty much all maps, so if your primary interest is just money making and not Miltech items, I think Streets or Reserve are going to be much more consistent for you, especially at these hours. Initially, I just intended on looking for one more decent raid and calling it a night, but after feeling out the pacing of that last raid and the lack of competition, it really left me yearning for more. And I also just knew that I could make something happen if I kept trying, so I hit the classic Savage Frog one more and spent another 4 or 5 more raids until we finally hit the one I was chasing. Even a beautiful run like this is still just under 2 mil, which on its own is nothing to sneeze at, but what I'm getting at is that until Streets gets tuned back up to even half of what it used to be, nothing in the game is really going to hit like those raids did in past wipes. As someone who is drawn into Tarkov almost exclusively by the loot system, and as an extension of that, the abundance of loot that Streets had to offer, it's an absolute tragedy to see what's become of Streets this wipe, especially as BSG didn't even mention it in the patch notes. I'll do my best to avoid hard focusing on this in the future, but Streets and its loot was such a core part of why I enjoyed playing Tarkov in the first place, so we just have to hope that they tune it back up in the future patch and find new ways to enjoy the game in the meantime. Streets baby rage aside, we did manage to pull a pretty solid haul this weekend. I really only got 2 full days of Tarkov in this week, so it's not the tens of millions in profit that I usually pull over the course of a week, but we were able to invest a decent bit into our next project, which I'm incredibly excited for. I said a second ago how I need to do a bit of soul searching and come up with new ways to enjoy the game, and I think this concept is definitely going to scratch that itch. I also mentioned earlier that if you watched me at all last wipe, you'll probably have some idea of what's coming by now, but even if you don't, I promise it won't fail to entertain, so if you aren't already, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss out. That's all I got for you today though. See ya.